That's Mike Protack, running for the city, the council.
County council.
Right, thank you.
Thanks. Stay there. Yeah, I'm running for county council president. And most people wonder, what's the issue here at county council? Well, I think for the foreseeable future, whether you're a long-term Delawarean or short-term, the destiny of Delaware is going to be tied to what happens here in Newcastle County. 60% of the population, most of the education center, manufacturing centers up here. So it's important what goes on in Newcastle County. Not taking away anything from Kent and Sussex, but this is the focus of the state. If Newcastle County continues to flounder, so will Delaware. I plan on staying here a long time. I like to have a much better state than this right now, and without the county improving, it won't. So what are the issues? There's almost no public integrity in county council, and I'm being kind. Next week, we're going to have something called an Inspector General proposal, where he or she, that person appointed, will have investigative subpoena powers to go anywhere in county government and investigate for as long as it takes. Now, what that may end up becoming is a stopgap against anybody thinking they can get one past us. For those of you, I live in the northern part of the state, right? The Pennsylvania border is probably those row of houses. There was a property deal called the Stoltz property. And I've talked to people on council, and almost to a person, they said, what happened in public was much different than what happened in private. Now, how about you? I served 10 years in the Marine Corps, so that kind of garbage wouldn't happen in this country, and it's happening a lot. Public safety. There was a study done in 2007 to increase staffing, lower response rates. Most of you probably know we have almost 30 cold case murders in Newcastle County. It takes 2 hours to get someone to your front door unless you're in dire straits. 2007, this survey was done by the then colonel of the county police, and here's what's been done about it since then. Nothing. Zero. That's just, how do you say that's acceptable? You can't. So public safety is important, along with public integrity. Land use is a big thing on county council, for a good reason. It's regulated by something called a Unified Development Code, which is neither unified, uniform, or fair, or understandable. If you have a problem sleeping at night, I want you to read that 300-page document, and your head will snap at about 5 Gs. Because it's incredibly boring, it's tedious, but get this, folks, over 100 amendments. All designed to confuse you, against you, against you, against you, and I don't have any attorneys in the room, I don't have the burden of legal education, but to make lawyers fight each other at your expense. We support a complete rewrite of this document, different than 350 pages, down to 50 or less. This thing should be understandable, enforceable, and not a tripwire for litigation. Your community standards should not be at the whim of a particular court case du jour. And that's exactly what happens now. So many exceptions have been written into this Unified Development Code, I guarantee you will get a major league migraine headache trying to figure it out. Because I've talked to land use attorneys, and the key word is, well, Mike, that depends. That's just not good enough. Now, what all this stuff ties into, for those of you who lived in Delaware for a while, I am firmly in middle age, I'll be 55 this fall. I've seen the Delaware way gradually reduce this state to almost nothing. Now, the Delaware way is where we all get in a room and decide how we cut things up and slice the pie our way and hope the citizens aren't paying attention. Now, what that does, it erodes 3 things I really believe in: freedom, liberty, and opportunity. Because the longer we let this political ruling class tell us how to live our lives, everything we value will go down in value. And that's unacceptable. So county council likes to stay hidden. They don't want scrutiny. They don't want anybody knowing what they're doing. But you're paying a lot of money to fund that government. The last thing we want to do is a top-to-bottom review of every function, every position, every dollar spent. Because every private entity has done that in the free world. Government refuses to do it. That Unified Development Code, we're supposed to tell you how to do everything in land use. We still have 122 people in land use doing God knows what. If you've got a document that should be enforceable, you don't need 122 people to shuffle papers back and forth. Now, some folks do a good job there, but it's flat out too much government, folks, for your tax dollar. You deserve better. County council's too big. That was a Republican idea, believe it or not, to enlarge it, double it in size about 7 years ago. Unbelievably bad idea.
Who's that?
Pardon me?
Who was that?
Representative Wayne Smith was the first guy who started. The goal was to have more Republicans elected. I want as little government as possible to do. Here's the word I want to use very nicely. Government should choose very carefully what it does, but execute relentlessly. Now, my professional life, I'm a commercial airline captain. I only have one thing on my mind every day I fly: safety. I mean, I care if you have a nice seat. I might care about your bags getting where you're supposed to go. Maybe the meal you get if you get one. But safety is number one, because the alternatives are not very good. I'm asking government to do not every bit of what I do, the focus you have as an airline captain, but certainly don't take us for granted, spend our money, and ignore us. So that's enough for me about county council. The potential for greatness in Delaware is here, but you got to change government to get there. Too many people in that professional political class are keeping us down, ignoring us, hoping we won't pay attention. Because when you're busy doing the urgent, you don't do the necessary. Jobs, parents, kids, and I'll brag, we just had our first grandson, so I'm extremely happy about that. You have priorities in life, and government's not necessarily one of them. But this November it needs to be, no matter how you vote.